somebody wrote to me saying, "Sir, yesterday Aankhon Dekhi was playing on television, and my father was watching it, and he loved it. And after the film, I said, the director is now making his new film and looking for crowdfunding. So my father said, मेरी तरफ से 500 रुपए दे दे." My mother was there. She said, मेरी तरफ से भी 500 रुपए दे दे. My brother-in-law was there. He said 500 रुपए. तो सर हम 5 लोगों की तरफ से ये 2500 रुपए.
Hello everyone, welcome to another session of the Film Voyage, or should I say the making of Rkay. And the first guest is someone who has been a very lucky charm for our channel and whose films have been something that we've been obsessing over for the longest time. Thank you so much for doing this, sir.
Thank you.
How are you, sir?
I'm not bad. Yeah, I think good overall. And you? How are you?
I'm good, sir. So, last time when we spoke, we're able to do this because last time when we spoke, we decided that when Rkay comes out, we'll be doing this again. So, and that time was a very uncertain time for Rkay. And I remember, every interview that you did, somehow Rkay used to come up and you used to be like, I don't really know, how soon is very
correct.
Soon. So, what was the experience like of getting it? What was the distribution process? What did the distribution process of Rkay teach you?
What did it teach me?
Yeah.
It taught me to not do this again. No, yaar, the thing is, things are moving too fast and changing too fast. So not just me, I'm an absolute, I'm completely naive about these marketing things. But even the stalwarts, even the people who know or who claim to know, even they don't know anything anymore because things are changing so fast. The audience choices are changing every week. So nobody knows how to do this, how to plan it, what to expect. Nobody knows anymore. So that kind of uncertainty, I don't know if it's a good thing for the future, but it's an unsettling thing for sure.
But do you think that unsettling thing is what somehow, because in 2020, the pre-pandemic way of distributing films and now a film like Rkay does find a theatrical release. Do you think that uncertainty somehow is the reason why a film like this can also be bet upon?
Bet upon? I think, somebody bet upon it. But there is no audience anymore. I mean, I'm saying, I'm not going back in a long time, but I'm saying just 2014 when Aankhon Dekhi was released. It was a similar release. It had same number of prints, maybe same number of shows. But audience came, not initially, but the word of mouth spread kind of. And it ran for 4 weeks. Few shows and so on. But it still managed 4 weeks. This time, no such luck. People just don't want to come out. Because now this idea of OTT is so strong that they know they'll watch it after 2 weeks on OTT. This is what has really changed. And it's, of course, happening with big films also, not just Rkay. But big films have another market, have another possibility. A film like Rkay, it's a bit heartbreaking, that people just don't care. Even if they care. Even if they say, I want to watch this film, but I'll watch it when it comes to OTT,
Yeah. But is it coming to OTT?
I don't know. Again, we're in the same boat. I mean, it will eventually, but I don't know when.
Take us back to when you thought of this film. I read in an interview of yours that initially it was about someone who loses his reflection in a mirror. So how did it evolve over the years from 2011 when you first thought of it?
You're right. That was the first draft about a man who loses his reflection. And he's very anxious about it. He doesn't know what it means. He's lost something, but he doesn't know what. And then the reflection comes back into his housing society. He finds the reflection there, brings it home. And then that reflection slowly takes over his life. That was the draft. It was fine, but something was missing. And then, scripts keep changing over the years. Then finally, eventually, it became this, where Rkay is making a film and the character disappears from the film. But essentially, it's the same idea, it's the same idea of identity, I would say, and of free will. Yeah.
But also, do you think the idea of a person's reflection as a metaphor is kind of it is cinema. It is what you capture in a person's that image becomes the reflection. So did you
Right.
somewhere translate that through like metaphorically?
Well, it's not, you're not trying to write metaphors when you're making a film. But in an analysis, you can use metaphors.
Yeah.
No, this just seemed more exciting to
Mhm.
have a filmmaker making a film. And because even in the original draft, the protagonist was a filmmaker.
Ah.
Yeah, so then I don't know. I don't know how these things evolve, and it's organically it happens. There's not so much why does it mean this. There's not so much of that, but it just happens organically, I think.
You put out the opening sequence, like kind of like a previous of the opening sequence on your YouTube
Right.
channel, like years earlier. And when we see it in the film, like the first thing that we see, like how did you conceive that? Like a kind of like a maze, like a mazy situation where the Mehboob is running amok. What was that like? How did that image? What's the origin
I
of that?
don't know how that image came about, but it just came. It's a simple enough image of corridor, and a man comes out and goes into another door. The same man comes from the other door. It's a
What
you
does it
you
signify though?
you've seen the film.
Yeah.
Then you tell me what it signifies. I don't want to talk about that. My thing is, if you talk about an image and put it in words, you can analyze an image, but then you've also killed the image.
True.
So it's open to your interpretation or it's open to anybody's interpretation what that image means. It's not a complicated image.
It's not. But like,
What do you
is-
think?
what I got from the like, because we keep coming back to that image,
Right.
through like till the moment Mehboob comes out of the film.
Right.
It's as if Mehboob is trying to break out and he's trying to like live. It's like that I'm alive kind of a
Mhm.
moment.
Mhm.
So which is what I like in a very literal sense I got that.
Mhm.
But it was very interesting because in like in one of the montages, which I was going to come to later on, we see that he comes. There's a shot. He comes in, walks into the frame, and you look up, and it's Rkay.
Okay.
Yeah. So that montage, those montages, what did they have some kind of a connection to that transition or to that?
Of course they do.
Yeah.
Of course
Like
they do.
what did that mean? Like what did that cut mean for you?
Mean, I don't know what it means. I can't tell you the meaning of it, but it has a feeling. I think more than the meaning is the feeling, right?
Yeah.
What does it make you feel? But even you felt it.
Exactly.
You felt some disturbance,
Yeah.
and that is important. That disturbance is important. That's what it means. There is no other meaning except the emotion it generates in you. The meaning
But
is the
that has to
emotion.
be, because you're trying to like. There's a shot where Rkay just he's trying to touch the mirror and Mehboob gets pushed away there. So it creates that idea that as if and of course in the screenplay as we see Rkay has those doubts throughout and it's almost as if it doesn't later he says it कि आप अपने किरदारों को जीने नहीं देते. It's almost like he's not letting him live, not letting him come out.
See, now you're equating an image with a dialogue to give the image a meaning. Don't do that.
Okay.
An image is an image, words are words.
Okay. So image and words don't have any connection in that.
They have.
Per se.
They don't have a one-to-one connection.
Okay.
Of course, they have connection. It's a film.
Yeah.
Everything has a connection. So colors also have connection. But if you say, okay, you've used this green color because you want to show jealousy. No, it doesn't work like that. So that's what I'm saying. They don't have one-to-one connection. The green can be many things. It's also nature. It's also rotting. It's also death. It's also life. I mean, it's how is it used, in what context it is used, and so on. But the moment you say it's jealousy or it's death, then you've completely reduced it, and then you've pushed it away. You've said, हाँ ये मेरे समझ में आ गया, बेकार है, आगे चलो. But the thing is not, the attempt is not about understanding it. It should not be about understanding it. The attempt should be about living it, about experiencing it. And I think one makes a film because you want to somewhere translate that experience to people, the emotional experience.
Sure.
That's what an image is trying to do,
Also, when the film that Rkay is making within the film, talk to us a little bit about that. Like How did what was the genesis of that? Like an old school.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like Rkay is making a film which is a tribute to a film from the 50s, which is a tribute to a Guru Dutt film, let's say. It's like Chaudhary Ka Chand.
Yeah.
I thought that's interesting also, so that both Mehboob and Gulabo can be very different from the present world, So Mehboob comes out with that difference, and Gulabo is so far removed from Neha, the actress who plays Gulabo, So that was interesting for me.
And also because I don't know, because the film within the film, it has a tragic ending.
Right.
And Mehboob as a character is someone who we found it's very like he's full of life. He's full of zest. On the other hand, Ken Singh, he is the one who understands his purpose, and he's supposed to be the very unpredictable one.
Right.
What was the like? How did these two characters come about? That okay, let's have an antagonist who would be
again something similar, because I wanted Mehboob to be very different from Rkay, not to do anything with Ken Singh, but Mehboob had to be. Rkay is the sulky guy, confused, stressed. So that as a complete opposite to him, Mehboob is this optimistic guy who's मेरे अब्बू कहा करते थे जिंदगी वाकई हसीन है रंगीन है so he's with that kind of philosophy, which is very it's almost cliches, but he's living those cliches. That's what the wife also says. You've written these lines, but he's saying them. He believes it, So, that was Mehboob Alam. To make him very different from Rkay, to make him more attractive to everybody else in the real world, Similarly for Gulabo who's so far removed from any real person. She's a fantasy, No woman like that exists in the real world. She can only exist in fiction. And that is why Rkay is in love with her, because she's just perfect,
Although he believes that, he says that तुमने कोई बनावट नहीं है.
तुम बनावट नहीं, meaning you have no artificial element. जो तुम हो वही हो.
In the film, there's these and I've seen it throughout your filmography, and again I'll be like a very IMDb type of a thing I'm going to point out. The ADs in your films,
right?
Even in Raghu Romeo, even in Mithya, there's a guy किधर उधर shortcut हुआ तेरा कट हो जाएगा तेरा expression घंटा दिखेगा.
Right.
And here Namit, आजकल तो सर independent यहाँ पे कुछ भी बकवास देखते हैं. What are these how did you populate your world?
These are real people around you, yeah. These are
no, that's why, because you have a very fable-like of a world where no one's questioning that how come is it realistically भी छोड़ो इसका logic क्या है कोई film से निकलता कैसे? No one's questioning that. That's believed to everyone.
Correct.
And we buy into that.
And we buy into it because the characters in the film buy that.
Yeah.
There is no question of how.
How is it going to go back?
Yeah. So now I like Goel Saab, Manu's improvisations very much. किसको बता गया भाई? किसी को नहीं बताया. ऐसे ही चला गया. बिना बताए चला गया. So that is a surprise. कि साला चला कैसे? I mean, at least बता के तो जाता है यार. The surprise is not कि ऐसा कैसे हो गया. But yeah. So even the cops, so everybody believes that it can happen. It doesn't happen very often, but it can happen.
It can happen.
Yeah.
Of course, the ADs in a film, they should have a universe of their own. So, and Namit as an AD, and then I don't know. It was I think it was a very tongue-in-cheek thing that cut to the next scene, we have the real Namit Das, and this being a very meta film in itself. I was maybe I was reading too much into it. I was like,
no, I'll tell you why. Because this Namit role, I wanted Namit Das to play.
Oh.
That's why I called him Namit.
Yeah. Also, talk to us a little bit about the soundscape and the music of the film. How did you there's a particular sound that Sagar sir and your films have, like a very Bernard Herrmann kind of a sound. So yeah, in that sense, very
wow, Sagar will be very happy to hear that. But I think it's quite different from what we have done earlier.
Definitely.
It's different from Kadak, which is different from Aankhon Dekhi.
Aankhon Dekhi is musically it's a completely different world. Yeah.
Maybe it's close to Mithya, which is a little more jazzy. Yeah, but we do try to find a new kind of sound every film. I must tell you that we're working on a film just now, and Sagar has just started composing for it. and again he's going to do a cracker of a job.
Wow. You directed this?
Yeah.
So you shot another film?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's called Everybody Loves Sorab Handa.
Everybody loves?
Sorab Handa.
Wow.
It's a whodunit. It's a murder mystery.
Lovely, great.
Who did it, guys? Who did it?
अपने पास है. Lovely. Wow, so was it... Okay, we'll come back to Rkay. Was it easier to make this one?
Well, I got a production house to back it, so that was easy.
Lovely.
Applause is producing it.
Oh.
So I'm very, very grateful that they like the script, and we've shot it, we've edited it. Work on sound is going on. It should be ready in the next 3 months.
Great.
We're very excited.
Man,
Yeah.
that's really great. That's really great. Lovely. Also, now coming to like Rkay, the film in itself, for someone to choose to play a director who's playing the lead there.
Right.
And you've been very vocal about that. It's not exactly a very kind of like a self-referential thing. Calling him Rkay and everything. It's a very tongue-in-cheek thing.
Right.
Yeah. But when you're playing someone, a filmmaker, being a filmmaker, and usually the cliched portrayal of filmmakers we see is like very frantic and everything, and you played him with such a poised and calm, and almost we can't read that guy. What was that like? What was that like in terms of while directing as well, playing that character?
He's not as calm as I am, I must say that. So Rkay is, I played him, actually my wife was a production designer, Meenal. When we were referencing for this, she showed me a picture of Arthur Miller, a few pictures of Arthur Miller. And I thought that's very nice, that idea. So those glasses, which are actually also my glasses, a white t-shirt under a shirt. So that became a kind of a reference, kind of a reference of an intellectual guy who I think has integrity. Maybe too much of it. That's what everybody around him complains about, But I admire him for his integrity, Rkay. But he seems to have no personal connection with anybody around him. His wife or children or people he works with also. There's nothing, no warmth in that guy at all. Yeah. And so Mehboob becomes the exact opposite of that. With great warmth, and he's involved with everybody's life,
Yeah.
Even now it's kya ho raha tumhara romance ka batao yaar,
Exactly. So, yeah, but performing that.
तुमने फिल्म कहाँ देखी है बताओ?
हैं?
कहाँ देखी फिल्म तुमने?
मैं हॉल में देखी सर.
झूठ मत बोलो.
सर फन रिपब्लिक.
हाँ.
और क्या? फन रिपब्लिक दो चार दोस्तों को लेके गया था.
हाँ. एक बार देखी है.
हाँ.
लेकिन तुम अच्छे से देखी तुमने, इसलिए पूछ रहा हूँ. तो बहुत डिटेल में देखी तुमने.
जिन लोगों ने पायरेसी करी उन्होंने कल रात लिंक भी दे दी सर मुझे.
हाँ?
जिन लोगों ने पायरेसी की थी ना.
हाँ. तो वो भी देखा तुमने ना. अब समझ में आई बात ना.
हम भी ज़ूम से ही शुरू हुए थे, हमारी बहुत पायरेसी होती है.
करेक्ट.
लेकिन हाँ वो क्या करें यार, पकड़ा.
तो उसका बदला आप दूसरों को पायरेसी करके निकाल रहे हैं.
नहीं सर.
हाँ?
ऐसे आप
वेरी बैड.
आपसे कैसे बदला लूंगा सर? आपकी जो फिल्म है आंखों देखी भी मैंने जब टीवी पे आई थी तब देखी.
सिनेमा हॉल में नहीं देखी थी. मतलब आप टिकट लेके नहीं देखते हैं ज्यादातर, यही कह रहे हैं ना आप?
कड़क मैंने सब्सक्रिप्शन लेके देखी थी सर.
चलिए, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया.
और वापस आ जाते हैं.
अब पकड़े गए हैं, वापस आ जाते हैं.
बिल्कुल वापस आ जाते हैं. तो वो जो एडिटिंग लाइक द वे यू टॉक अबाउट द cinematography, which is of course something that everyone is raving about.
Right there.
So like it that warmth and that nostalgic lens with which the characters are shot, and the contrast of warmth and coldness in the house and everything. But what was that? What was the idea of not like of? Did you ever had to fight that instinct of making Rkay's film a black and white film?
Oh no, I don't think that I did. It was always color.
It was supposed to be like that Eastman color kind of.
Yeah. Because that era is beautiful. Yeah, I love films from 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
Of course, Pyasa and other films are black and white, but Guide, for example, is color, and it's beautiful color.
Yeah. But when you guys are creating a world like Rkay's world and Mehboob's world, we see a certain kind of a similarity there, with like in terms of production design. like Gulab
Really?
also. Yeah, a little bit, like in terms of
Not at all. Okay,
no,
go on.
like,
Tell me.
because just the way the way the rooms are structured, or the way, like, the colors on, or the wallpapers are even used. Of course, his Rk's world is much drier.
Entirely different.
Yeah, but like the approach, I'm saying, like in terms
Not
of
at all.
no,
Not at all. Not
no,
at all.
I feel the design
It's
is
a set. Gulabo's and Mehboo's world is everything is a set,
yeah,
and it looks like a set.
okay.
Whereas Rkay and
Because in one of the montages, this is where I thought that I almost felt like Rk is in that room. Like, I don't know, I might have I might have misread it, or might have, like, it might be a mistake, but it felt like almost in those. I think the montages are partly to blame for that, because
right, it's my fault.
the worlds kind of got merged in that sense. I feel.
There was an idea of in the beginning when I wanted to continue Rk's life and to continue Mehboob's life, so that when Mehboob decides to leave, it's not that we are seeing him, and there is a film world which is running on its own with that kind of an idea. So I know what you're talking about. When Rk comes from the door, he comes from the door. Rk sits on a chair, he sits on a chair. He gets up, and Mehboob gets up. Yeah, but they're both very, very different in terms of location, design, and everything. But this idea that parallel lives are going on. If this world is going on, even that world is going on parallelly. That was the intention. So that even after Mehboob runs out of the film, that world still continues. K.N. Singh will come to Gulabo and say, Mehboob kahan hai? And then so that world is continuing. Gulabo is waiting. Gulabo is meeting the tarot card reader. Gulabo is sitting by the phone. Yeah. So that world is continuing.
Yeah. And the tarot card reader becomes a therapist almost in one of the frames.
Well done. Well done. I'm very impressed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
वाह, काश सब लोग ऐसे देखते हैं आपकी आंखों से पिक्चरें.
अरे सर, बिल्कुल देखेंगे सर. वाह. के दिखाई जाए तो सब देखेंगे. नहीं, ऐसा नहीं. बहुत हरामीपना कर रहा हूँ मैं. ऐसे नहीं करना चाहिए मुझे. पर लेकिन वो टैरो रीडर पे मैं आने वाला था कि he is reading his horoscope, and
from there cut to the tarot.
Tarot reader. So what was the significance of the tarot reader in that sense? Like,
I don't know. Yeah, this character has been.
Hangman also. And like hanged man as a tarot card.
Yeah, hangman, death. These cards keep coming again and again. This tarot card thing is a funny thing with me. It's been happening in many of my films. Yeah. In my first film, Private Detective, there's a character of Chacha who kind of predicts the future. And then in Mithya, I don't know if you remember Mithya, there's a beggar dressed as Santa Claus. Santa. He's become that. In Kadak, there is Kalki's character, the mentalist. Yeah. So it's a recurring thing, There's somebody who knows the future or warns you about the future. I don't know where it comes from, but it keeps coming back. In Everybody Loves Surab Handa also, I think there's a creature like that. Slightly different. He's a psychologist.
There's a psychologist in Everybody Loves Surab Handa.
Yeah, that's a leak.
There's a psychologist. ये वाला पार्ट काटेंगे, ट्रेलर के पहले रिलीज करेंगे और बन जाएंगे लखपति बहुत सारे सब्सक्राइबर्स के साथ.
आप तो बहुत ही आशावादी हैं भाई.
ऐसे वो रखना पड़ता है क्या करें. मेरे अंदर भी एक महबूब है.
हाँ, लग रहा है.
अभी तक खत्म नहीं हुआ है वो.
लग रहा है खत्म होना भी नहीं चाहिए.
तो के.एन. सिंह पे आते हैं सर. के.एन. सिंह ऑफ कोर्स हम जैसे जानते हैं वो बहुत ही पॉपुलर विलन थे. उनका रियल नाम ही के.एन. सिंह था और जो मेरे शहर के थे देहरादून के. तो वो लाइक ये क्या डिसीजन था कि लाइक इंस्टेड ऑफ अ वेरी पॉपुलर विलन नेम यू चूज द नेम ऑफ द एक्टर?
No, it's just a reference. There's no real reason like that. I mean, क्या कुछ भी बुला सकते थे. अजीत. के.एन. सिंह has a gravity to it, no? तो उसका मजा है नाम का. अगर महबूब कहीं मिले तो उनसे कहिएगा जरूर कि के.एन. सिंह मुझे बहुत याद कर. दम है उसमें, है ना? But like Ranveer has been saying it in interviews, and we have been saying that these are all archetypes. It's not as if he's playing K.N. Singh, but he's playing a kind of a villain that was represented in that era. Gulabo's character is like like Vahida, Nargis, Meena Kumari, Madhubala. It's an amalgamation of it all, It's not one particular person, but it's an idea of that heroine, that hero, that villain.
And for playing it that way, like as a director, you must be like you have to stop them at some point so that it doesn't go into a very like into a parody of
Into a
the-
caricature thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
They have to buy into that.
correct.
Thing,
But
right?
they're very good actors. Ranveer is a wonderful actor. Malika, it was a pleasure to work with. So I don't really think I have any trouble in that part.
But like for someone like Mehboob Alam, like to say that, to say that in a way that it conveys the idea that this guy actually believes in it.
Right.
Like, is it an easy thing to do, or is it like
It happened. I don't know. I don't know how it happened. You have an instinct as an actor. You go with your instinct. It can go wrong. It can work. You don't know. You only know it when it's finished, But you have to trust your instinct. Because, a film is made with shots. So you can do it in one shot and in another scene and somewhere else. But there has to be a consistency of that. So you can't decide with one scene or one day's work whether what you're doing is correct or no. But you have to go through all the way with belief. And see कि चलो बाद में देखेंगे भाई अगर तो अच्छा हो गया तो ठीक है नहीं हुआ तो मरे फिर.
सही बात. So जैसे इस तरह की भी जब हम इस तरह का performance like from you especially the kind of gravity that you bring to that role, and especially in the end when it's almost becomes interchangeable with the kind of VFX also that you guys did, like what was shooting those sequences like for you?
It was hard because I'll tell you why it was hard. Normally acting and directing is not a problem for me, but this particular film was hard because suppose Mehboob and Rkay are sitting here. So when I was doing Rkay's part, there would be nobody there. So I was getting no response at all. And then I would finish this and I'll go sit there. There would be nobody here. So that was because, normally when you're talking to somebody or acting against, opposite somebody, you get a response. And then you can improvise. Then you can go somewhere, Yeah, wo chance hi nahi tha. Because there is this guy and both are me. And even I can't even look at the director and say, bhai, kaisa hua? Director bhi nahi hai. So ye thoda mushkil ho gaya tha baat. Just, to get an idea, if you think you did something funny, your co-actor will laugh or will smirk or something, But I was getting no reaction at all from anybody. So I will ask my assistant, ठीक हुआ भाई? हाँ सर अच्छा था. अब मतलब they're just being polite or I don't know what. Yeah.
तो पहले आप महबूब के शॉट करते थे या पहले आप
ऐसा कुछ बंधा हुआ नहीं था. कुछ भी हो सकता था.
तो स्विच कर लेते थे आसानी से बस.
हाँ?
आप स्विच कर लेते हो between roles like अगर
Yeah.
there's no sequencing in place हो जाता है.
That is not an issue.
And वो जो scene था where like Rkay is having a very heartfelt conversation with Gulabo, which is on a screen.
Right.
Now,
Again, another instance where I had no actor to play because half the bloody time in the editing room I was playing with the computer.
Yeah.
गुलाबो जी तो शूट करके अपने चली गई थी. उनके खाली कंप्यूटर पे सीन्स चल रहे थे. And I was trying to match my lines according to the gaps that was already there. Yeah. So I had to work within the gaps.
That editing room is a very it's a very peculiar location
Right.
within the film.
इतना बड़ा ही तो रूम था साला.
नहीं उसमें मतलब क्योंकि
था इतना बड़ा.
Fritz Lang का रेफरेंस है Invisible Man का, मैं इसलिए कह रहा हूँ.
हाँ, of course. And Dolce Vita and M.
इस फिल्म में आपकी दूसरी फिल्मों के like contrary to what you do usually, but उस तरह से देखा कि like very minimalist approach towards editing also, except for the frenzies that you often take a route towards, but like the way you shoot it and the way you edited it also, the scenes कोई like इसके पीछे का क्या thought था, like to make it look very like lifelike unfolding in that sense, and sometimes within the shot you go into slow motions and the music comes in.
But normally my editing is not very hectic.
No, but
anyway.
Still, I mean, maybe because there's so many characters in each, like every film, there's so much going on. Maybe it gives a sense of that kind of. But here, even if the frame was very busy, also, it had that sense of a very. It had a very breezy sense to it. Like, was that something like you guys tried very consciously? Or?
Yeah, you have, again, it's about instinct. Of course, you sit down and plan how to treat it. But we don't do shot breakdown. I don't do shot breakdown. So there is no real thought given in that direction. For example, that one shot of the wrap of the film. So it starts with Goel with Kubra, pans to Rkay, final touches makeup. Hussain Haidari is saying, sir, वो बेदाग और साफ अलग-अलग चीजें होती हैं. He goes into the background. You see Namit and Rakhi in the foreground. Camera is tracking, right? Rkay says, चलो 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 लाइट जा रही, लाइट जल्दी करो. Okay, ready. यहाँ पे रणवीर का आखिरी मेकअप हो रहा है. Makeup girl goes out, and we say action. Camera has stopped. We say action. माल किधर है? माल लाना आज मैं भूल गया. He pushes the guy. Okay, and Namit says cut. They stand. How was it? Very good, very good. Camera team, okay. There's an announcement to make. It's a wrap, film wrap, and everybody claps. And the camera now starts tracking again. Quote ले लीजिए please. Hussain comes, says कि सर एक वो बेदाग और सब अलग-अलग चीजें होती हैं. ठीक है ना यार, समझ में आ जाएगा. Producer comes, bye bye. Ranveer comes, bye bye. Kubra comes, kiss. They leave the frame. So that is a single take with again a minimal movement. Track भी कोई बहुत लंबा चौड़ा नहीं है. Characters थोड़ा घूम रहे हैं. That's it. This happened on the set. It's not, like I said, we didn't know how we're going to shoot this scene. So when you arrive on the set and you try and decide, this is how it happened. तो उसमें ऐसा नहीं कि क्या कारण है, क्यों है, इस चीज को हम 12 शॉट्स में भी कर सकते थे डिवाइड. See, anyway, I like long takes. I like, it is something that I like, especially with many people. Then it's fun, to do that. नहीं तो बाकी क्या है, एक उसका शॉट ले लिया, एक उसका शॉट ले लिया, उसका शॉट ले लिया, सीन बन गया. That I hate it. I hate that kind of filmmaking. Really, hate is the right word. I can't stand it. Because also to me, it shows that the filmmaker knows nothing. He knows nothing and he's just playing it safe. इसका भी ले लो यार, एक वहाँ कैमरा में देख रहा है, उसका ले लो, उसके अच्छा पैर का भी शॉट ले लेते हैं. अरे यार, फिर एडिटिंग भी देखेंगे कैसे करना है. इसका मतलब, पक्का मतलब है कि आपको रत्ती नहीं आता है फिल्म के बारे में कुछ. नहीं तो आप कहीं तो अपना, you will put your life online ना. You will say कि बॉस यही शॉट है, and it will work. It will hold. I know it will hold. है ना, ऐसा कहिए ना, उसको थोड़ा दम लगाइए ना उसमें. And it's not even that after taking this single take, I've taken safety shots. वो भी नहीं है. So if the shot doesn't work, it really doesn't work. Then I have no options. ये नहीं कि चलो फिर एक आरके का क्लोजअप भी लिया था, चलो वो लगा देंगे, डायलॉग किसी और का चल, नहीं वो भी नहीं है.
तो इस तरह का लॉन्ग टेक नॉर्मली कितने पूरी इज इट, do you just leave the actors be and just see what gets captured, or is everything orchestrated?
It's of course orchestrated. You can't, I mean, if the camera is here and somebody's Hussein's hand is there, it's exact precise position that he's in.
So how many takes usually does it take?
I don't know, this must be four takes normally, or on average 4 takes. Sometimes it happens in 2 takes, sometimes it goes up to 7 takes. Yeah, no, really, because actually वो हो जाता है 2-4 टेक में. फिर आप क्या, वो चलता रहता है कि यार नहीं ठीक नहीं हुआ, कुछ और ले लेते हैं, लेकिन 2-4 टेक में हो जाता है मामला. See, you can't be anal, because it has to be organic also. It has to feel organic. हम कोई ऐसा तो नहीं बना रहे. It's not like a choreographed dance movement के beat फलाना ढिमकाना, वो नहीं है. I mean, even if it was, maybe I'll shoot it like this, in a little organic way. I'm trying to think of other examples from the film.
I mean, like वो जो long take है जिसमें it's kind of like long take, but it cuts into the जब वो महबूब पीछे भाग रहा है, जब उसको पता लगता है वो मरने वाला है.
See, now those were difficult things to do because I had to be in both the frames. So yeah, we had to shoot it twice. पीछे running भी और आगे conversation भी. Yeah, that I enjoyed. That scene I enjoy very much. I enjoy Manu Rishi Chadda coming back in the car. Now again, that's a single shot. Namit bhai, picture बनाना बड़ा जिगरे का काम है. It's a single shot. So we are not cutting to this one. एक camera static है, 2 हैं. Time, it's about 40 seconds. Nothing is happening except that one dialogue. But Manu Rishi manages to hold the shot.
Definitely,
Yeah.
It's lovely in the film. And talk to us a little bit about the dialogue writing of the film. Uh, Especially the dialogues of the film within the film, like
Right.
the way जो बोलता है कि इस छछूंदर का खून और वो सब वो even in the dialogue writing also it can't sound a little parodish, but of course it's been used for humor in that
Of course.
So,
That, and even the romance. I'm
दिलों
quite
का
happy.
जमादार है क्या? I love that.
Yeah.
तुझे कैसे पता मेरा दिल साफ है तो दिलों का जमादार
I
है?
think that Ranveer improvised. I can't remember, but I think he improvised that. But I'm seeing even the romance between Gulabo and Mehboob. एक बात कहें आपसे, आप जब नाराज होती हैं, आपके गाल और भी सुर्ख हो जाते हैं. और when she tells Kane Singh that वो कोई आँखों का काजल तो नहीं कि नजरों में छुपा लूंगी. So it's like a throwback to 50s, which I enjoyed very much. This kind of, because you don't see that anymore, and you don't see those. Again, that world of Gulabo and Mehboob and the slow camera tracks, you don't see them anymore.
Yeah.
And I love those, slowly camera tracking through the curtains and Gulabo saying, किसका फोन था? Yeah, मतलब इतना उसमें वक्त होता था यार चीजों में, कोई भागम भाग नहीं होती थी.
और उस चीज की एक तरह से जब वो शूट हो रहा है, ऑफ कोर्स महबूब वो मतलब वो कांस्टेंट जो
Yeah, because I wanted a very different world that is created, because shootings are chaotic.
Yeah.
So I wanted to capture that chaos. Yeah. And I wanted to capture this bad actress, Neha, who can't even fucking remember a line. But in spite of that, she's managed to create a persona which is phenomenal, So I wanted that contrast. So, and in spite of that chaos, when you actually see Gulabo, everything is calm, everything is quiet,
Also, the last time that I spoke to you, I mentioned this thing in the films that is really great. Everyone loves it. Ranveer Shori losing his shit, and again in this one, ये आंटी कब से ब्रेड बदलने को बोल रही है, ब्रेड क्यों नहीं बदल रहा साले?
Yeah, it's so good.
Lovely, and that even like when that moment came in, I thought like this was going to go on for a while. What Kane Singh does when he comes out of the film,
right.
And even in a scene like वो कुछ भी करेगा, वो पूरा
improvised
character है. But उस improvised character में भी उसका एक sense of purpose है. और ये character which is supposed to be very napatula, as you mentioned, he kind of finds this finds that okay, I don't need to have this purpose that has been forced upon me.
Right.
At what point did this come into the script? Like Kane Singh will have that kind of a purpose when he comes out, and that.
See, now the thing was Kane Singh, because he's completely improvised, kuch bhi karega. So now, when in the police station, when he's Mehboob, is sabke piche tu hai sale. He thinks Rkay is Mehboob, and then Rkay says, "Let him go." Well, kya kare sir, maar dega, types. He says, "Let him go," and he gets up, stands in front of him, chale, sings up, and because he's unpredictable, he says, "Chaliye," and then they explain to him. That's what happens. They explain to him that he's your Bhagwan. इन्होंने लिखा है आपको, and that changes him. अरे मेरे ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश तो यहाँ हैं, मैं कैसा पापी हूँ. अब याद आया, अब समझ में आया भगवान आपने क्यों बुलाया मुझे, क्योंकि इस छछूंदर का खून तो मुझे ही करना है.
एंडिंग हमेशा से यही थी सर.
हमेशा से यही थी, हमेशा से. अब मैं आपको बहुत अच्छी कमाल की बात बताऊं. एंडिंग हमेशा से ये थी, एग्जैक्टली ये थी कि आरके चला गया पिक्चर के अंदर, मर गया, प्रीमियर हो रहा है, ये सब लोग पिक्चर देख रहे हैं, दी एंड वहां लिखा हुआ आता है, एंड सीमा इज सिटिंग, द वाइफ इज सिटिंग नेक्स्ट टू आरके और महबूब. दिस वाज ऑलवेज द एंड. व्हेन वी वर डूइंग अ लुक टेस्ट, ओके, तो महबूब के कपड़े शपड़े दिए, ये दिया, वो दिया, ब्राउन शूज थे, एंड दे गिव मी ब्लैक सॉक्स. मैंने कहा कैसे बेवकूफ हो यार, ब्राउन शूज के साथ ब्लैक सॉक्स? नहीं सर, कोई बात, चल जाएगा, दिखेगा नहीं. And then I thought, okay, let him have red socks. That was not in the script. That happened at that time. So Mehboob and red socks became a thing. And the last shot that, so when we said, okay, they're watching the film khatam ho gayi, camera aega, and till down to the red socks. So that became, I get very excited by these things which are not there on paper,
lovely,
but which happen in the course of the filmmaking, And that became such an iconic thing for me to end the film with the red socks, which was not there in the bloody script.
And so in the script it was supposed to be kind of like an ambiguous thing. Ki
They,
maybe hai,
you
nahi
know, like even now it's ambiguous,
hai.
but it's the same way that they're watching the film. You know, yeah, that RK is gone and Mehboob is out.
But RK chooses to die.
It's his film, man. He has to finish the film. He has to finish the film. That's the only way to finish the film.
And that's a lovely moment where RK realizes ki, that this guy is supposed to be here.
Correct. ये घर वाले तो भाई इसी को पसंद कर रहे हैं. कुछ मेरा है नहीं यहाँ पे.
Yeah. So, okay, now ये film जब after the completion of the script and as it evolved over time, this film had a journey of its perhaps more than we got to know a lot more about RK as it was being one of the crowd producers is a friend of mine.
Who?
Amey Deshpande his name is.
Okay.
एक end में आता है उसका मैं screenshot लेकर रखा उसको बताया उसने कितने दिए थे मैं तूने उसको 1000 रुपए दिए थे and this was a thing we got to I was in film school and got to hear that there's a film called RK that you're making and
उसके बावजूद लोग पिक्चर देखने नहीं जा रहे हैं बताइए.
तो सर सब मैं बता रहा हूँ सबने फेस्टिवल में लीक हुई था सबने वहाँ देख लिया
टॉरेंट पे देख लिया सबने.
टॉरेंट पे देख लिया पर generally ये film for me it's one of it's right up there with Mithya and RK right there.
Thank you very
One of
much.
my favorite films.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Lovely film. And especially वो Ranveer Shori losing his shit. That is a thing in your films. I really love your film. And heck इसमें Ranveer.
Of course.
अरे भाई साहब.
लेकिन और भी बहुत लोग हैं. बताऊं कौन कौन है? बता दूं? विनय पाठक, सौरभ शुक्ला, दानिश हुसैन, मैं, नील गोपालम,
ये रियूनियन हो रहा है?
शरद कटारिया, कोयलपुरी, चंद्रचूड़ राय, पलोमी घोष, सादिया सिद्दीकी, सुनते जाइए अभी खत्म नहीं हुआ है, वलूशा डिसूजा और भी शायद एक आध मैं भूल रहा हूँ. ये सब साथ हैं.
पूरा रियूनियन
बताइए.
क्या बात है. शरद कटारिया भी है. क्या बात. उनको हमने भेजा फ्रेम में देखा था थूकते हुए. करेक्ट. उन्होंने दमला के हाइशा जैसी बहुत अच्छी फिल्म भी बनाई है.
एंड स्वीदाला.
एंड 10 ML लव भी बनाई है जिसमें.
एंड 10 ML लव ऑफ कोर्स.
कमाल है तो.
हाँ. मजेदार कुछ बन रहा है. मजेदार बन रहा है.
ये जो एक आपकी जो कोलैबोरेशन है आपका विद द क्रू स्पेशली इज a well oiled unit. और इस यूनिट से सिर्फ अच्छी फिल्में ही आती है बाहर ऐसा लोग कहते हैं.
जी.
मैं भी मानता हूँ बड़ा दिल से.
जी.
वो उसमें जिस तरीके से भी जब आप एक्सपेरिमेंट्स कर रहे हैं यार डू यू हैव दैट comfort with them where you do not have to justify a lot of your screenplay choices?
I don't have to justify anything. Oh, no. Of course not. Justify, no. But the feedback is unstoppable.
Critical of you?
They're critical of not me at all, but of the scripts, yeah.
Okay.
All the time. Meenal is on the top of that list. The Rafe. Everyone. But why this? This is boring. And then so on, which is all very welcome and that's how it should be. Because that pushes me to write again, write better, to take their grievances into account, to think that, okay, if they're not liking this, there must be a reason why they're not liking it, why they're feeling like that. And then we address it together, so that's when it becomes a collaboration. But beyond that, they are willing to go all the way out for the film. Absolutely. All of them. Rasool Pukuti, Suresh Pai, Sagar Desai, Darshan, who did the costumes. They're willing to go all the way out, to push themselves, to think of a new direction, to say, okay, now where can we take this film? What will benefit the film the most? So yeah, I'm very, very grateful for these collaborations.
Yeah. Also, I was talking about the crowdfunding process of Rkay. What was at times, because of course you have a body of work that speaks for itself and people will be willing to
yeah, it didn't work as well as I thought it would. We managed to collect about 40 lakhs. I was thinking we would manage to get about a crore and a half. वो नहीं हुआ. Because I suppose crowdfunding also has its limitation. A lot of people gave money, but people gave 100, 200, 500. Uh, but you know, Aryan, the money, 40 lakhs is not a small amount. I mean, it's a lot of
It's
money.
not.
It's not sufficient to make a film, but it's still a lot of money. But more than the money, it was the feeling that came with it, which was absolutely stunning. I'll tell you, there's a girl, I met her once after. So one day she's an television actress. I don't know if she's okay with me saying her name or not. So
Surabhi
this,
Jyoti?
huh?
Surabhi Jyoti?
No.
Because she was one of the producers.
Okay, no. So this girl sent a check of 25,000 rupees. I wrote back, thank you, etc. Next month, she sent 25,000 rupees. Third month, she sent again 25,000 rupees. Like that, 7 times she sent 25,000 rupees. And I'm saying, my God, why? Who are you? She says, no, sir, I love Aankhon Dekhi and I'll keep sending money every month. I mean, incredible. So 1,75,000 from somebody I don't know at all. I mean, there's another person who's given 5 lakhs and I don't know him also. But more than that, somebody wrote to me saying, sir, yesterday Aankhon Dekhi was playing on television and my father was watching it and he loved it. And after the film, I said, the director is now making his new film and looking for crowdfunding. So my father said, मेरी तरफ से 500 रुपए दे दे. My mother was there. She said, मेरी तरफ से भी 500 रुपए दे दे. My brother-in-law was there. He said, 500 रुपए. तो सर हम 5 लोगों की तरफ से ये 2,500 रुपए. You know, and something like that happens. I can't tell you how touched I am by this. You know, it is incredible. This kind of love from people and this kind of belief and trust that we are putting our money, it will be used well, you know, and we are becoming part of something bigger, of a film that will see the light of the day, you know.
Yeah.
It's really so touching, I can't tell you.
And it must like this is what must keep you going in those times where it must be
Exactly.
difficult.
And I really think, I really believe that these good wishes become a part of the film, you know. They absolutely do. And if the film is good, it's also because of all these vibrations that we have collected, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
And vibrations of people who watched it on torrent.
And once in Fun Republic अंधेरी ये काटना मत कोई गिल्ट होता है जब हम चोरी से देखते हैं of course ऐसे नहीं है सर खत्म करने से पहले एक लास्ट सवाल किन फिल्मों से एक तरह का इन्फ्लुएंस इस फिल्म पे रहा है in terms of writing or say even imagining the world like because एक बहुत ही obvious वाला जो मैंने आपसे पिछली बार भी
Purple Rose of Cairo.
उसके अलावा like आपने कोई किताब का जिक्र किया था एक इंटरव्यू में
I think there was an Italo Calvino book in which the character loses a reflection. So I think the first draft may have been influenced by that. No, 6 characters in search of an author. It's a play by Perandero. So yeah, there's no direct relationship with anything. For me, the film is okay. Purple Rose of Cairo because the character went out of the film. Okay, but that's where it ends. This one is for me more about a film about free will and destiny. You know, do we have free will? Are we doing everything that is written for us? You know, the film, that is the basic premise, and about identity, which has been a recurring theme from Mithya, Raghu Romeo, even Aankhon Dekhi in a way. They're all about identity of who you really are, and the persona that you created. It is obviously not you; it's somebody else now with its own identity. And for me, what is interesting is Mehboob being told that you don't exist, and his trauma at that moment. You know, that for me, that moment was very interesting and central to the film in a way. कि मैं नहीं हूँ कि हूँ, you know.
Like tongue-in-cheek reference भी है जब आप कहते हो कि क्या problem है existential.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, एक ये free will से एक सवाल याद आया मुझे. वो moment है जब आप महबूब आरके को कहता है कि आपको कैसे पता वो उस moment के बारे में बताया कि when he actually like as if he's written it. Like the creator creates the...
Not him, but somebody has written him. So
but like he says कि अब आप घूमेंगे सर.
Because I know you. This is what you do. I know you exactly what you will do. So even the idea being that even you are limited within यू आर पैरामीटर्स मैन, यू नो, आप कहते हैं आपको फ्री विल, किधर है फ्री विल? अगर फ्री विल है तो आप कूद के दिखाइए खिड़की से, नहीं कूद रहे ना आप वही कर रहे हैं जो आप कॉफी पियेंगे, फिर ऐसा कैमरे की तरफ देख लेंगे, यू नो, यू आर डूइंग एग्जैक्टली व्हाट वाज रिटन फॉर यू इन अ वे.
So with this we come to the end of today's session. Also एक बारी सर प्लीज सबको सब्सक्राइब करने के दीजिए, मेरे कहने को तो सुनते नहीं.
क्या कहूँ
कि व्हाइटबर्ड ट्रेल्स को सब्सक्राइब करें.
भाई, व्हाइटबर्ड ट्रेल्स को सब्सक्राइब कर लीजिए. आपने मेरे कहने से आरके तो देखी नहीं, मेरे कहने से ये जरूर कर लीजिएगा, ठीक है?
आरके हम सब देखेंगे, फिर से री रिलीज कराएंगे, टेंशन ना लो सर. और अरे बहुत मस्त फिल्म आने वाली है, बाद में वीडियो बना के डालूंगा इसमें से काट के मैं.
थैंक यू वेरी मच, थैंक यू, प्लेजर टॉकिंग टू यू. व्हाइटबर्ड ट्रेल्स को प्लीज सब्सक्राइब कर लीजिए, क्योंकि इन्होंने मुझे बहुत पैसे दिए हैं ये एंडोर्समेंट के लिए, ठीक है? प्लीज.